Mike McCool here. I'm outside the Warren County Government Center. With me is attorney at law Timothy Johnson. Timothy's representing the group of citizens that have formed a petition to remove our Board of Supervisors. Tim, tell me a little bit about this, Tim.
It's a citizen-led initiative that I was contacted to help prepare a petition for. Like you mentioned, it's a removal of elected officials. It's a unique feature of Virginia law that there is not a recall election process.
Yeah, I know. The law is really. I think we've had one recall, and that kind of that fell through. So
yeah,
because these laws are written by the same people that we're trying to remove. So I remember I called down and talked to one of these attorneys one time, and they said, well, they're not going to really, because I know what it was. I was telling my delegate, I said, we need to change these laws. Mm-hmm. He said, that ain't going to happen.
Right.
So anyway, is this the way that recalls are happening, or is this just another, maybe, tell us, is it legitimate? I mean, is it really potentially could happen?
Well, let's put it this way, it could happen. What it really is that you're putting the decision of whether to remove any of these elected officials in the hands of a judge, who at some point will hear evidence as to whether or not the allegations have enough grounds to say that it has materially adversely affected their ability to perform in their offices. So again, this is a chance for the citizens, although they can't elect or re-elect or unelect anybody out of office, they can say, there's enough of us who have been concerned about this situation to say,
we want it reviewed.
Please review it. Tell us if there's any further grounds here to say these guys should not remain in office under these circumstances.
Is this something that happens quickly once the petitions have reached the required signatures?
The short answer is that when you look at the law, it looks like it should be fast. It says that once you file the filing of the petition, they're supposed to issue a rule to show cause, an order scheduling a hearing within 5 to 10 days from when it's filed. But realistically, what happens is usually the lawyers are going to step in and they're going to file motions to dismiss or demurs, things that are going to slow the process down. So realistically, this could be one of those things that may not be heard until after the election, which may moot some aspects of the petition.
Right.
But it is supposed to be heard as quickly as possible.
Because we do have 3 people running for re-election, and some of the people on there are not running for election, so just one, and then they'll have 2 more that will be afterwards. So it potentially will affect 3 of the 5 people.
It could. They very well could. And I recognize that. And my clients who've come to me asking for me preparing this have recognized that. But at the same time, if it can be heard before then, all the better, because then there's actually a provision that allows for suspending members from going forward with their duties until the decision has been rendered on election, whatever the case may be. You also have to take into consideration that even if there is an election where some of these people may not be reelected, that they're still going to be in office until January.
Right.
So the question is, can they still perform their duties all the way up until January?
Right. So what would be the procedure? Let's say, hey, it happens, and the judge says, you're right, we're going to suspend their duties. So the judge then appoints people?
It depends. You have to look at the law and the specific factors there, where it could be an appointment by the judge himself, or it could also be that there could be a special election called. And given the limited time frame, I think it's more likely it would have to be an appointment under those circumstances.
And the judge would do this?
It would be the judge technically. Now again, there may be some way that could be influenced by the citizenry in some way. I'm not quite sure how that would happen, but it's pretty rare we're going to have a whole Board of Supervisors potentially on the hook, and that could cause all kinds of concerns for a judge.
But what do you really think? Do you think it's a message that the citizens are sending to our elected officials, whether the ones that are being petitioned or not? I mean, to all people that are serving in elected or appointed offices.
At an absolute minimum, it's a message. It's to say that, look, if you're getting charged with criminal indictments for what's equivalent to neglect of office, at a bare minimum, not gross incompetence is the argument, essentially, when you look at the criminal side of things, then you should be doing your jobs. And at this point, we've lost confidence in you to be able to do your jobs, especially during the pendency of these criminal indictments.
Right.
So, at a bare minimum, it's a message, if not more.
Yeah, I think it sends a message for people. And it's just like when they did get indicted, I mean, it is a misdemeanor, and probably nothing will ever happen. That's the way people feel. Nothing will happen. But I do think it sends a message to people that serve on these boards and serve as elected, that if you elected, you want this job, then we want you to take it seriously.
It's not a popularity contest only. It actually has real duties, real responsibilities, and at some point here, it looks like somebody or the whole group dropped the ball, and there needs to be some accountability for that.
Right. So do you think the petitions, it looks like they're on track to meet these, I think they need about 700 total signatures, and they've had around 300 now?
That's my understanding so far. My clients that have been circulating the petitions have informed me that they're at about 300 or 400 at this point. Again, what you have to focus on is each district, though.
Right.
Each district has its own, specific number based on the prior election cycle.
Would they file it per district, or will they just file them all at one time, you think?
Well, the petition is said to be a joint petition for all districts. So
Okay.
the goal is, we're going to get enough petitioners together for each district, get them all lined up, and then file it all together. It doesn't make sense to go after each individual board unless it really comes down to we can't do it.
Until it comes to election time, and,
Right.
and it's a moot point for some of them.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's something that hasn't been done. I've heard this over the years,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you've heard it for many years, that when people get upset and get with their elected officials, then really nothing happens. I think people have come out and have formed a group, and I think they're upset.
Well, another thing to keep in mind is that this is a unique feature that typically comes up only when there's officials being indicted or there's some kind of criminal investigation related to it.
Right.
I mean, almost all the prior case history, when you look at it, relates to somebody that was charged with a crime in some capacity. And even the rest of the statute says, under certain circumstances, if you're convicted of a felony, it's an automatic removal, as opposed to some of these other situations, it's a little bit more discretionary.
Of course, there's not any
judge.
convictions here. Now, these are just
Absolutely.
indictments. So, would the judge consider that?
They can certainly consider that. I mean, that may be grounds under the circumstances for possibly just a suspension while the case is pending. I mean, but there is more to it. There is an allegation. There are some allegations that just relate to the fact that they've just not been doing their jobs, exclusive of the criminal indictments itself. So, come in and explain how you have been doing your job. Again, the reason why it's called a rule to show cause is you're supposed to show up and show cause why you should not be removed. And if you can make a statement as to that, and there's sufficient evidence showing, hey, you know what, they're doing their jobs, they keep them until the next term.
All right, that sounds great. All right, Tim, I really appreciate you speaking with us, and we'll speak again. I know you have several other things going on in our county, and we'll bring that up at another time.
I'm sure. Thank you.
Right,
Appreciate
thank you.
it. Thank you. Thank you.